All right, so today we're going to be solving linear inequalities. Cool, cool. So our first one, our first linear inequality is this guy right here. I'm going to give myself some room to work. X divided by -3 plus 1 is less than 3. So this is going to be just like solving our equations that we learned last week. A couple weeks ago. We're going to do the same thing. I want all my x's on the left side and all my constants on the right. So I like my x divided by -3 on the left side, but I don't like that plus 1 over there. So I'm going to move it to the other side by doing the inverse operation. Instead of plus 1, I'll do -1 because those cancel out with each other. So I have my x divided by -3 on the left side. On the right side, I have 3 minus 1, which is 2. And in between the two of them, I have that less than sign. Cool, cool. So now I have all my x stuff on the left and all my constants on the right. So there's one more step, and that one more step is I've got to undo that divided by -3. So to undo divided by, we'll do times -3. If I times it on the left, I got to times it on the right. The dividing by -3 and times by -3 cancel out because they're inverse operations. So I'm left with an x on the left side. On the right side, I have 2 times -3. That's -6. And here's the fun part. In between them, we did have a less than sign. But because we divided by a negative number, our symbol flips sides. Instead of being a less than symbol, it's going to be a greater than symbol. So be careful with that. It's definitely something to keep your eye out for when you're taking your test. So I'm looking for x is greater than -6. I know that A is the wrong answer because that's a +6. So that's wrong. B is wrong because it's a +6. So it's either C or D. And I know that the correct answer is D because we're looking for, based on this symbol, we're looking for an open circle. And we're looking for our shading to be to the right, shade right. Because if the x is first, then the shading just follows the direction of that arrow. It says x is greater than -6. So my shading is going to be all the stuff to the right of -6. All right, so I do like answer choice D on that one. Cool, cool. Next up, it says solve, all right, and I like to draw a line right down the inequality symbol. And again, I want all my x's on one side and all my constants on the other. So we've gotten pretty darn good at this. I already have a 6x on the left side. That's great. And I want that 7x to be on the left side too. So remember, if you want to switch sides, you got to do the opposite. It's got to be a -7x. All right, I have a less than symbol between there. And I want all my constants on the right. I already have a -48 on the right. Now I want that 18 to go to the right as well. So I've got to do the opposite. I'll do +18. So now all my x's are on the left and all my constants are on the right. I do have to do a little bit of math here. 6x minus 7x is -1x. -48 plus 18 I think is -30. And cool. That wasn't bad. Now I have one last step. Remember, I'm trying to get x by itself, so I'll have to divide by -1 to undo that multiply by -1. So divide by -1. And I get x. And on the right side, I have a negative divided by a negative, so it's a positive. 30 divided by 1, so +30. And then just like the last one, since we divided... Well, on this one we divide, on the other one we multiplied. But since I divided by a negative number, I've got to flip that symbol around. So instead of being a less than, it's going to be a greater than. So somewhere on here, I got to plot my 30. I'll just slap it down right here in the middle. And around that 30, it's going to be an open circle. And it's a greater than, so I'll shade to the right. And here's where my solutions lie. Everything to the right of 30. So our solutions would be like 31, 32, 33. Those would all be solutions because they lie in the shaded area. But things like 28, 26, those wouldn't be solutions because they lie on the left. You know what? 30 is not even a solution because that's an open circle. So all my solutions are to the right of 30. All right, up next, the graph shows the load limit for large trucks crossing a bridge in thousands of pounds. So this 5 doesn't just represent 5, it represents 5,000. And it is a closed circle. So anyways, this starts off with a variable d, and it's a closed circle, so I know it's going to have the or equal to part, and our shading is to the left, so it's going to use the less than symbol, and that's a 5, so I'll put a 5. Now if I wanted to get crazy, I could put 5,000 because the numbers are in thousands, so I could either put 5 or I could use 5,000. All right, and let's see which one is a legal load. So numbers less than 5,000 are what I want. So this guy's out, and both of these numbers are less than 5,000, so those would be yeses. All right, and you know what? Even if there was one, if there was a option E that said exactly 5,000, then that would be good too. Okay, I want anything less than 5,000. All right, our last one here. You were shopping for supplies for your birthday party. Your parents have given you a budget of $250. You're paying $30 per person. Okay, so automatically $30 per person makes me think of a rate. So I'm going to be like, all right, $30 per person. So I'll be like 30p, p representing per person or persons. You plan to reserve $50 for food and snacks once you're inside. So we're going to save $50 for food. So that $50 is for food, and then $30 per the amount of friends I can have. Now, it says I have a budget, which means that's how much money I have. I cannot spend more than $250 because I would go over my budget. So I can only spend less than $250. Can I spend exactly $250? Sure, that would max out my budget. So here's a great inequality. And I knew to include the P because this said $30 per person. So that P represents the amount of people that I'm not sure how many people I'm going to bring. So I use that variable P to represent that. So it says, how many friends can I pay for and still stay within my budget? So all we have to do is solve this inequality. Let's get all our constants on one side. All right, so 30p is less than or equal to 200. And then I can divide. Okay. And p is less than or equal to 200 divided by 30, which is the same thing as 20 divided by 3, which is like 6 2/3 or 6.66 repeater. So how many friends can I bring? Can I bring 4 friends? Yeah. Can I bring 5 friends? Yeah. Can I bring 6 friends? Sure. But I can't bring 7 and I can't bring 8 because those numbers would be bigger than 6.66 repeater and out of my budget.